What's up, y'all? This is Hammer here again, back with another video. And today I'm going to be talking about something I've been noticing. And, for a very long time, I thought, maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just over exaggerating about certain issues. But something I've started to see, especially in regards to black men, is that whenever black men talk about how much they hate white supremacy, you love to hear it. You love to see them talking about it. And before I even continue the video, let me just give some background to myself. I, of course, am a black male. My family came here from Cameroon, from Yaoundé. So I am a black immigrant living in the United States, right? So this is not just because I know a lot of you guys are gonna assume that I'm talking about Black America. No, I'm talking about black men in general. This is black men globally because the same behavior exists with black Caribbean black men in the UK, in Europe, African black men. So there's a global issue when it comes to sort of black male psyche. But going back to what I was saying, whenever you hear black men talk, the pro-black stuff, whether it's in the UK, America, wherever it is, right? It sounds great. You applaud them. You say, yes, go, brother. And then all of a sudden, they start, you either see them with a non-black female, particularly a white woman, or they start to make excuses for why they can be, quote unquote, pro-black, but still be with a white woman, right? Now, the reason why I'm saying white feels because that's something that's more common. Of course, this conversation it really applies to all non-black women, but I'm really gonna focus more on white women because that's something that we see more prevalent in the media. We see more, it's more common, right? And so, one thing that I've asked myself is, okay, first of all, why do I keep seeing this pattern of so many black men that talk about how pro-black they are, but we see them with a Becky, or we see them trying to make excuses for why they're dating out of the race while wearing dashikis, right? It's so crazy because I remember in the past, there was this Indian comedian. And this Indian comedian was talking about how when he went to college, right, he was an immigrant to America, he went to college, he came across these hoteps. And these black men were talking about how evil the white race is, how white supremacy, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he sees them on white girls. And it's like even he was like, wait a minute, but if you got all this energy white supremacy, like why are you a white woman, right? So in this video, what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna break it into three parts, right? First, I'm gonna talk about why I believe black men do this globally. Second, why it's problematic, and third, how this undermines, black men, right, as a collective, right, and of course, maybe I'll talk about how we can move forward, right. So first, let's talk about why I believe black men do this. Number one, I think there are two reasons actually. One is status. In this world currently, right, white men are at the top of the global hierarchy. They have the most wealth, they have the most resources, okay? And so, by default, white women are essentially associated with status, wealth, right? Status and wealth. And I've talked about this a little about how, look, the status of a group of women is directly tied to the power of the men. So the more power and wealth a group of men have, the higher status that one becomes, right? So for example, because black men are at the bottom of the hierarchy in all areas globally, black women essentially also end up being put at the bottom of the hierarchy. Right? They end up being the lowest status symbol. Right, so that's the reason why it's so easy for all these non-black groups to go at black women so easy, because once again, your male counterpart is weak. But white women, because their men, white men, hold the most power and the most wealth, they become the symbol of wealth and symbol of status. And so for a lot of black men, they don't want to admit it, but many of them subconsciously, right, they associate white women with status. And so if you're a black man and you essentially, you think about the history, how, hey, in the past, as a black man, you would have been lynched, you would have been killed, right? And it's not just in America. When you look at black men in Africa, for example, when they were under colonization, they couldn't really get to white females like that. So when you look at it, black men historically have, for the most part, have been either been punished or just never really had acts like that, right? And so for a lot of black men, they do view white women as a status symbol. And so for a lot of black men, hey, if I am able to acquire wealth, acquire resources, and then am able to go into the white community and acquire a white woman, right? I can then use her to validate my status, right? As a black man, I can have resources, I can have really sins, but if I can have a white woman on my arm, that is a testament to my status, because I am trying to tap into the status that she has as a white woman, right? But of course, the irony is that the white woman only has that status because of the power her men have, right? But nevertheless, part of it, I believe, is that black men associate white women with status. And so when they get more resources, one way to validate their position, or one way to validate their status, is by acquiring a white woman, right? So by essentially attaching yourself to the status that is associated by attaching yourself to the status that is associated with a white woman, you therefore validate your own status as a black man, right? So that's the first part, status. The second reason why I think black men do this is because, once again, white women are essentially pedestalized as the standard of beauty, okay? So because white men are the top of the hierarchy, they are essentially able to pedestalize their women globally. And, a lot of black men don't want to be honest about, hey, when you grow up, even me, right? When the media is constantly showing you how this blonde hair, blue eyed, pale skin female is a standard of beauty, that does enter your subconscious. And if you don't do some serious reflecting as to why you choose what you choose, or why you're attracted what you're attracted to, you will subconsciously be more attracted to white female. You will subconsciously, validate white women's beauty more, right? Without even knowing why. Because your whole life, the media, the society has been sort of imprinting you that, hey, this is a standard of beauty. This is a standard of beauty. And by the way, it doesn't just happen to black men, right? All across the world, whether it's Asian men, Hispanic men, all across the world, white women are essentially viewed as a beauty standard. And even non-white men will go towards that, right? I look at Asian guys. Look at how, as much as Asian dudes complain about Asian women, dealing with white men, they themselves also obsess with white females. They themselves are also trying to get access to white women, right? Because they themselves, buy into the idea of white women being as beauty standard, right? To a point in which their own women will go through facial surgery just to look closer to whiteness. So it's not just black men. Like, white women being pedestalized as a standard of beauty by the men has affected everybody, right? All the groups, all non-white women are trying to become closer to them, and non-black men essentially, idolize them, and non-white men essentially idolize them as standard of beauty. So everybody's being affected, right? The non-white chicks are trying to be white women, and the non-white men are trying to essentially, pedestalize or idealize her because she has been pedestalized as a standard of beauty. Those are the two reasons why I believe black men, essentially, in my opinion, pursue it. Now, I'm going to look. Those are the two reasons why I believe black men, in my opinion, will talk about how they're pro-black, but and to Becky, right? Because one, it's a status symbol, and two, white women's beauty essentially is pedestalized. Of course, when it comes to non-black, when it comes to quote unquote non-white women, right? You have to understand, right? Because white women essentially are top of the hierarchy, the way it works is this: the further away you are from white, the worse it is. So for a lot of, so everything I said about, the status and the beauty standard, for a lot of black men, it's okay, I believe, if they can get a white female, or maybe if a white female is too far from them, they'll try and get the next best thing, right? Maybe it's Latina or Asian, something close to that, right? But from their point of view, it's always as close as you possibly can to whiteness, right? So those are the two reasons why I believe, black men will say all this pro-white stuff, both be out here with non-black females, right? Specifically white women. Status thing and the beauty standard, right? And of course, this mostly applies to white women, but of course, when it comes to non-white women, the closer they are to white women, right? Whether it's in the status symbol or the beauty standard symbol, that will appeal to black men, right? So that's the reason why I believe that black men essentially behave like so. Why they'll profess pro-black but still be out here dating non-black women, especially white women, right? That's the first part. Then the second part is, why is this problematic? The reason why this is problematic to me is because this becomes an Achilles heel that non-black people can exploit with black men too easily. Okay? I am tired, and I mean I am tired of seeing black men lose everything just because they could not keep their dick out of a white female or a non-black woman. Now, you're going to have a lot of folks that say, well, you know what? These things can happen with black women too. Yeah, but let's keep it real. It's not the same, right? I'll give you a great example. Let's look at Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors worked his butt off to reach the heights of Hollywood. And he literally lost everything because he wanted to take a white female and walk around the red carpet. Right? And of course, when his black card got pulled, he went and got, he went and got a black female to take her around. And my problem is this, right? What I want black men to understand is this, right? Think of the movie Get Out, all right? The reason why I love that movie so much is because it showed how, when a system is trying to get at you, they won't always use the men. Sometimes they'll use the women. And then for a lot of black men, they hyper focus so much on how white men can use the system against them that they feel so that white women can also be used against you. Right? Non-black women can also be used against you. And you're so hyper-focused on how white men or non-black men can get at you that you have this blind spot to the women, to the female side. And so when these white females come through, when these non-black females come through, you are so idealized, you have such a blind spot that when they stab you in the back or they pull your black card, they use them as a proxy to get at you, you don't know what to do. And so for me, the reason why it's problematic is because, one, it makes it too easy. It becomes an Achilles heel for black men where non-black people, especially white people, know that, hey, this successful black dude, this black guy, the way you get to him is to a female, right? You get to a non-black female. All you got to do is put a Becky next to him, a non-black female next to him, and that'll be it. And you can use her as a proxy to undermine him in the future. And when he's at his most weakest, when he doesn't expect it, you use her as a proxy. So that's why it's problematic. Is that it becomes too easy. It becomes a weakness that can be exploited by non-black people, especially white folks. And that's the reason why, in my opinion, I sort of lost sympathy when it came to Jonathan Majors, because once again I said, look, brother, I feel bad for you, but I'm going to keep it real with you. Okay? I am tired of seeing black men, how when we tell them, don't go out here to these non-black communities, don't go out here to these non-black women, right? They can be used as a proxy against you, right? Now, some folks say, what about black women? I'm like, yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same, okay? Even with this amazing Lucas guy, I just made a recent video about him, right? He's a black YouTuber, same thing. Talking about how he's pro-black, but he's in with a white. So I said, brother, that white woman eventually will pull your card. And it'll happen when you will least expect it. Least expected. So this applies to black men globally, right? But I'm tired of seeing black men, especially black men, who lose everything just because they wanted to have access to non-black women. I'm tired of seeing that. And it becomes problematic because this becomes a weakness that can be easily exploited. Okay? Now, the third thing is, how does this undermine black men? This undermines black men in two ways. One, it reduces our legitimacy when we talk about how we're pro-black. because we have seen these kind of situations happen so much, right? It has now become a stereotype that whenever you see a black man who talks about how much he's pro-black, people already assume, oh, he probably got a white female somewhere. Like, that's how bad it's getting. And this hurts us. Because whenever we want to talk about real things, how to empower the black race globally, how to empower black people globally, when you step in the room, people already don't take you seriously because they already assume that, oh, you're one of those pro-black men who, is talking all that stuff, but behind closed doors, you're talking black but sleeping white. You're talking black, but sleeping with a non-black female, right? So it undermines us because when we talk about our pro-black policy, when a black woman tries to be pro-black, people take you less seriously, right? But the second reason how it undermines is that when we then try to bring our grievances to black women, it's harder for us to do so. It's harder now for black men globally to bring out grievances to black women because they'll just assume that, oh, you're just trying to get with a white woman anyway. Do you know how many times I have seen black men talk about weave or how they want natural hair, but a lot of black women don't take it seriously because from their point of view, well, why should we take your grievances seriously when we know at the end of the day, y'all will just turn around and get with a non-black female anyway? So not only does it make people not take us seriously when we say we're pro-black, but it also makes it harder for us to bring out grievances to black women because they will already assume that, oh, I shouldn't take any of your grievances seriously about black women because, to be honest with you, you're just saying that because you're trying to get with a white female anyway. You're trying to get with a non-black woman anyway, right? And to be fair, I get where they're coming from because I have seen so many examples of black men online that will bash black women, talk about how they'll say all these things and then turn around with a white female. Like, okay, brother, so all the stuff you said, was it like, were you actually trying to change things? Did you actually have real grievances? Did you actually want black women to change some things? Or were you just saying all of these things as a pretext to go with a non-black female? Right? So that's a reason how I think, how it undermines black men. Now the question then becomes, how can we move forward? I believe moving forward, black men globally, we need to draw the line in the sand and make a very clear separation, right? We need to make a clear separation between black men who genuinely are pro-black and actually believe in the empowerment of black people globally and actually mean that, and those who are just using being pro-black as a means to get a non-black woman. This separation is made. I don't know how it's going to be done, but moving forward, it has to be done. Because we cannot allow a situation where the image of being pro-black, the image of the pro-black male gets destroyed because you got dudes out here who are saying they're pro-black, but every other minute we're catching them with a Ling Ling, a Maria, or a Becky. So that separation is made. If you're a black dude and you're out here with a non-black female, don't call yourself pro-black. Call yourself something else. Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to keep allowing these interracialists, these swirler black men, right, who essentially will latch on to pro-black only when it's convenient. But by them doing this, they undermine the image of black men like me who are actually all pro-black and who actually do believe in the empowerment of the black community, black race globally. So moving forward, that's what needs to be done. And just to wrap it up, another thing I think black men need to fundamentally realize is that when we talk about the dangers of you interracial dating, I personally hate how black men always love to frame it as if it's the black community, it's black women, it's black men globally that are trying to hold you back. And the same thing applies to black women too. But of course, like I said in my previous video, right, it's not, the number's not the same. You don't see as many black women out here today compared to black men. So whenever I see black men say, well, what about black women? Once again, you know that black men have a much more easier time dating out. Right? So you cannot want to say, hey, black men have an easier time dating out, but then wonder why we focus on black men. Like, stop it, right? But going back to what I was saying, black men always love to make it seem as if it's black men and black women that are trying to hold them back from being with Becky. But they fail to understand how It's not just that the black community doesn't want you to do that. Non-black people don't want you fucking the women too. That's why. This is what kills me. It's like black men don't understand how non-black people also don't want you fucking the women. They don't want you in the community. Same thing we saw with Jonathan Majors. We see this with black men all the time. Okay? Jonathan Majors, when you were out there in the red carpet with that white female, yes, you probably only saw the black community attacking you. But let me ask you a question. Do you think white men in Hollywood were happy with you being with that white female? Do you think the white community was happy seeing you walk on a white female? And like, they always ignore how non-black people view black men with non-black females. And that's why I got to call them out. I said, look, you may get backlash from the black community, but you'll probably get way more consequence from non-black people because they too don't want you fucking the women. So stop trying to frame it as if we're trying to dick police you. Right? It's always that black people are trying to dick police black men, but they ignore the fact that non-black men don't want you fucking the women either. Interesting how that works. But with that being said, yo, so for me, I'm tired of all this. Oh, they're just dick policing. So let me get this straight. When black people say don't get with these non-black females, we're dick policing. When non-black people say don't fuck our women, all of a sudden now you guys want to be quiet. Stop it. But with that being said, yo, I'm gonna leave it there. But y'all, tell me in the chat what you guys think about the video. Do you guys agree, disagree? But you know, personally for me, I am getting tired of black men talking about how much they hate white supremacy, because what I've come to realize that a lot of black men don't hate white supremacy, they just hate white men. That's all it is, right? You don't actually hate white supremacy, you hate white men, because when the conversation goes about white women or non-black women, all of a sudden, you know, you guys don't see color, right? All of a sudden, you become colorblind all of a sudden, white supremacy is no longer a thing. So it's just, I am tired of it, right? It is what it is. Y'all tell me in the chat what you guys think. With that being said, like, share, subscribe, hammer out.